We're facing a Tyranid splinter fleet. They engaged us on 2 planets, Avarax and Kadaku. I'll be straight with you, Titus. I have my reservations about your reinstatement. There could be questions. Will that be a problem?
No, Captain.
Tyranids!
My pledge is eternal service.
Xenos inbound! Eviscerate this abomination! Come forth and be slaughtered! Open the gates. Care to see who can slay more Xenos for the Chiron? I thought a beast of that statue would offer more sport. Hold them back, damn it! For Ultramar! For the Emperor!
I can almost make out what it's saying at the end there with reversed audio, but not quite. It's like one of those videos where people are pretending to speak English, but it's still just gibberish, but they have the cadence of real language. It's the kind of vibe I'm getting there. It's like right on the tip of my tongue, and it's frustrating. If any one of you can actually figure out what they're saying there, please leave it in the comment section below. But hey, Space Marine 2 time, and when you take a look at that sneaky little image flash right near the end of the trailer, looks like we might be seeing some old enemies making their return alongside the Tyranids. Space Marine 2 itself has been frustratingly sparse on details and on gameplay footage, which is why I've kind of been ignoring it over the last 5 months or so. I really wanted to make videos for it, but there just wasn't anything of substance to discuss. There was cool looking gameplay, but it was just snippets, and I didn't want to just go into a video and say, oh, that looks cool. That looks cool. Like, yeah, no shit, dude. Of course it does. But sometimes the hype gets to me, and honestly, I think at this point there's enough info here to actually have a real discussion. And the game looks amazing. It really does. What we've seen up to this point looks absolutely fantastic, and I can happily say it appears I was wrong about 2 major points about Space Marine 2. Number 1, a release date is holding steady for this year, and although there's no guarantee that trajectory will be maintained, Focus and Saber have again reaffirmed release will be before the end of the year, sometime this winter. My guess would be mid-November. I was fairly sure that would not be the case, and I still may be proven right yet, given how little we've seen and heard on the marketing front. But this is one of those times where I'm actually cool with the dev keeping their cards close to their chest and not revealing too much. I really don't need to see everything. I don't need to know everything. I want to experience most of this game when I sit down to play it for the very first time, and not a minute before. Number 2. Co-op campaign is indeed a reality. 3-man co-op, which I did not even remotely believe would happen in the year of our Emperor 2023. The days of couch and even online co-op feel like they've long since passed us by, as developers focus more on, well, just about anything else. I have fond memories of Gears of War, Halo, and Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter, among many other games at buddies' houses, but I haven't played a co-op game with a real-life friend in more than a decade, as that kind of functionality started being stripped away from titles. The fact that it's happening and that we'll be able to play it online is just straight up incredible. That is functionality that's going to add so much life to this game. I cannot wait to get a group together to play this. But naturally, I hope it doesn't just stop there with 3-man co-op. I am high on that hopium for a return of at least the multiplayer experience we had in Space Marine 1, which still holds up pretty well to this day. For those of you who don't know or don't remember, Chaos Space Marines were the second secret race after Orcs in the first game. They played a large part in the narrative there, and they were the second playable faction in head-to-head, where up to 8 players could battle it out with bolt guns, plasma, chain swords, and even the occasional dreadnought. Yeah, a robust single-player experience with customization options, New Game Plus, and reasons to play through multiple times are most important to me, and probably to most of you as well. This is a single-player game first and foremost. I want that campaign to be as cinematic and well fleshed out as possible. But if we're talking real longevity and a reason to keep playing long into the future, then at least for me, head-to-head multiplayer, even if it's not crazy in depth, has to be near the top of my wish list. The more they add in terms of perks, weapons, classes, and visual upgrades and unlocks, that kind of thing, the better that experience will be for me. And while there has been no confirmation of a multiplayer suite available on day one, the reveal of co-op today at Summer Game Fest does make it seem even more likely. Hopefully there will be a reveal on that forthcoming soon. Especially because it's usually not a great sign if a long-anticipated sequel has less content and game modes almost a decade on. Space Marine 1 had it, would like to see it return in Game 2. We'll see. Kind of along that same line of logic, I am once again expecting a second race to make an appearance here. And because it's such an integral component of Titus and his story in the first game, I believe that second enemy will be Chaos. Now, I was thinking that would be the case long before this reveal. You typically want to have some kind of human opposition in a story, and if it's just bugs, if it's just swarms of Tyranids, it's simply harder to create that exposition and tell a deep, complex, emotive story, because there's nothing really to bounce off of. It's just a wall of angry flesh. Again, we're Ultramarines, so I'm not expecting Shakespearean melodrama or anything like that. It may be a bit shallow, but that's why a rival like Chaos is so important. It brings out the best in our protagonist. It gives them a true peer and rival to face down, to converse with, and ultimately ram a chainsword down its throat. So even in a title focusing on Tyranids as the main adversary, having that dark mirror of humanity is important. And this image of what literally looks like a pit of shades is a huge sign that more is on the way. It looks like a portal to the warp, which could be tied, of course, to the Eldari, the Drukhari, or to Chaos. But as Chaos was in the first game, I feel it's a fairly safe bet they will return in Game 2 in some capacity. The first game had demons, it had Chaos Space Marines, it had bosses in Terminator armor armed with lightning claws. I want to see all that and more in Part 2. It would not shock me if they decide on another race of Xenos though, and we should keep our eyes open for Eldar or Dark Eldar as well. Both are human enough and like meddling enough in human affairs that there's potential for them instead of a return of the Chaos Chosen. If we get Eldar or Dark Eldar, then we probably won't get Chaos. I'm not expecting 3 races in a narrative game like this. As for the gameplay itself, the swarm tech looks divine. Obviously there are some performance drops and hiccups here and there, but the fact that they aren't actively trying to hide that this far out is a good sign in my book. We're still 5 or so months out from launch. Some of this footage is already many months old, probably close to a year old, and is from an alpha version. So if it already looks this good, this cinematic, and is real gameplay, then I expect really great things in that final release. Obviously, last couple of years have not had a great track record for good releases, but if the focus here is on single player, that should help. It seems like more the multiplayer side of things have been struggling on that front. In the gameplay, we see meltaguns, storm bolters, a power sword, plasma guns, chain swords, a whole variety of weapons to choose from. All of it looks really impactful, sounds meaty, gorgeous animations. I'm really loving what I'm seeing here. There's a few nitpicks, of course. The FPS drops, number one. The general meme amongst 40k fans with bolt guns never sounding as vicious as they should, or exploding things as they should. Funnily enough, Darktide probably has the best designed bolter in any 40k game ever. The sounds we've heard from the Space Marine 2 version aren't the best they could be, but graphically the game truly does look gorgeous, and ripping warrior brood heads from shoulders, fighting some Carnifex or Swarmlord bosses, maybe a couple Broodlords or Pierce Train Genestealer variants. There's so much they could do with NIDs, not just with the ones we've seen in the trailer thus far, but secret stuff, and with the arsenal in this game, thunder hammers and all that. All I can say is right now, I am very excited for what the future holds for Space Marine 2. Let me know if you noticed any specific or interesting details in the gameplay reveal, or what that damn audio said at the beginning, and I will see you all in the next video. Indie Pride, signing out for now. Have a good one, guys.
We're coming to you now.
They're plotting something.
What motive do these creatures have to attack this facility?
These are mere drones.
Then what guides them?
A worthy adversary.
You will pay, you rotten cowards! Eviscerate this abomination!
Delta Wing, report.
The spores collapsed the bridge. There's no way through.
Get into assault position by the bridge.
Let us show them some of Ultramar's hospitality!
Come forth and be slaughtered. We are the defenders of mankind against the horrors that dwell in the darkness. While we draw breath, we stand. While we stand, we fight. We are the angels of death. We are the blade drawn against the endless night. Nothing will survive our wrath.